What's up, guys? This is Crossing Blades. Now, what is Crossing Blades? Well, it's basically a series that I'm going to do where I'm going to have two knives and I'm going to kind of be pitting them against each other. This one obviously is the first one in the series. So we got the Toor knives Merchant. We got the version 1 and the 2.0. Now, this one's going to be a little bit different because this isn't so much trying to battle them out because there's so many similarities. Obviously, this is the version 1, this is the version 2, and obviously version 2 has taken a lot of stuff from version 1 and just improved on it. So this one isn't so much of which one is better. This is a why would you want to buy the version 2 over the version 1? What are some things that you would like to know? What are some things that you would like to see, different, basically. I don't know if that made any sense. Really don't care because we're going to keep moving on. Okay. There's a lot of similarities with the knives, obviously. They're both similar in lengths. They're both similar blade shapes. They're both S35VN. They're both titanium scales. They're both titanium frame locks on top of that. And I shouldn't say scales, I should say handles. If you want a quick comparison, here is the Sharpie of comparison. Yes, I know I use a Sharpie. Why? Because everyone knows what a Sharpie looks like. Not everyone has the same size hands. And if I angle this camera differently, these knives do look differently. We're going to say hi to Spider-Man Batman. Hello, Spider-Man Batman. We got a Paramilitary 2. Now, how does a Paramilitary 2 compare? The handle is definitely bigger on the PM2, but the blades are close to the same. This is a slightly bigger, I believe. We have a Para 3 lightweight. Definitely the handle is a lot smaller on the Para 3, and the blade is a lot smaller on the Para 3. Yeah, the handle is definitely smaller. Sorry, it almost looked like it was a similar size for a second. We have, if you don't have one of those type of knives, we have a Sog Terminus Xr. So as you could see, the handle is definitely a lot smaller and the blade is a lot smaller. For all you Benchmade lovers out there, we have a bug out. Handle it's not much bigger, but there is a difference with this little swoop right here. Because of the swoop, it feels bigger in the hand, and it kind of gives you a little better ergonomics. Blade is not much smaller on the Benchmade. This is like a 3.3-ish, give or take. That's a 3.5. And for fun, here's a Cold Steel Voyager. Yeah, that's just for fun. Definitely smaller. Something else that I will throw in the picture, because this is also a USA made knife, the TRM Atom, and this is actually very similar in a lot of ways in length of blade and length of handle. So the handles are both 3.5 and the blades are roughly the same. Anyways, moving on. So let's talk about first, like I said, the similarities are S35VN steel, which is probably one of my favorite steels. It's just such a great all-around steel. Sorry, I was doing arts and crafts with my kid last night, and there's still some residue left over from that. Yes, I do arts and crafts with my kids, and I use my knives for them. They're both S35VN, which, like I said, is a great all-around steel. It holds an edge actually very well, and it's a lot easier to sharpen, a lot easier to maintain. As much as I love to say, like, I love something like 20CV, 20CV is not the easiest to sharpen. Once you get it sharp, does it hold an edge that much longer than the S35VN? I haven't found it has really, but that's a whole nother story. Okay, so we have the titanium S35VN. The blade shapes are obviously the same. Handle shape, not size, shape. Well, obviously length, but shape is the same. The big one of the big differences is the thumb studs on the V1. You have these like rigid thumb studs. See, got ridges on them. And on the V2, you have nice smooth thumb studs, which definitely make it for a nice, easier opening action. Doesn't hurt the thumb as much. These do deploy out. They're on phosphor bronze. These are both on phosphor bronze washers. This frame lock side, obviously. Okay, so that's pretty much the similarities. Made in USA, all made in-house in the USA. They make their own screws, everything. Let's get into what they upgrade and the differences. So one of the biggest differences, obviously, as you could tell, is the frame itself. You could see the size difference in the scales. That's a huge difference. Definitely brings down the weight. Definitely brings down the feel in the hand. Makes it a little more compact feeling. A little more EDC friendly. And because it's not so chunky, a lot of people are having issues with this frame sticking. I mean, even though it's a pretty late lockup, it looks like. I mean, that's like a 60-70% easily. And you can feel that you really have to kind of move it over to get the blade to come down. Because if you don't, like, let's just say you just haphazardly do it, and you kind of just catch, see, the blade's actually catching right there. I actually have to give it an extra little push. So see that little click? That was the detent ball. So you have to give it the extra little click to close it. Whereas with this, watch, you'll see the bar move. Pretty much the bar moves right about it open. So that's the detent ball disengaged, and that's open. There's really not much of a difference. So it's a lot easier to open and close. So that's a huge, huge, huge benefit. You could see how they cut the frames different. The scales, like I said, the scales are just incredibly different. I mean, look how massive the scales or the handle scales on the version 1 compared to the version 2. I mean, it is definitely a drastic difference. I'm going to get that at all angles so you can really see, get my fingers out of there because it doesn't help anybody. There's a drastic difference. Now, they did upgrade the clip from a non-deep carry to a deep carry. I don't know if you want to call that an upgrade. Some people like non-deep carry clips. In the pocket, I'll use my handkerchief here. That's all you get. So you got a lot still hanging out of your pocket. Is it easy to grab it and pull out and then deploy it? Probably. I've done it. I haven't really had to be like, bah, bah, but it is a little bit easier to pull out and deploy. Now, I'm going to leave this a little bit on the thicker side because your jeans usually are a little bit on the thicker side. And I want to not drop the knife, but show you something. One thing I have noticed about this deep carry pocket clip is how shallow it is because of that screw. And because they make their screws in-house, you can't just swap it out for a different screw. Now, because of that, let's see if I can get this on camera. See how it actually is, the screws actually holding it back. You have to give it the extra little push. See that extra little push I had to give just to get it to fully sit, which is fine. Once it sits, it looks great in the pocket. And then pulling it out, see how it's getting stuck? What? Listen. You hear how it's actually grinding over, the screw's actually grinding over. That is the only true complaint that isn't nitpicky as far as, like, okay, for example, I try not to bash on anything. I don't want to sit here and bash on the company. They put their hard work into this. They put a lot of time, a lot of effort. They listened to their customers. They did a great job even with V1, and they, really improved it with V2. Now, something like this lockup, it's just hard not to say something about it because it's a fact. It's not my opinion that the lockups are having issues. You know what I mean? This is a fact. The fact of the matter is that it's kind of hard to get in and out of the pocket because of how shallow that area is. Now, for example, I do have other deep carry pocket clips that have screws that aren't recessed, like this TRM. But see how much gap there is in there? There's so much gap that it's like, okay, not a big deal because there's so much gap. The other thing is, one thing that I will say I'm still not the biggest fan of is how skinny this blade is. I wish it was maybe a little bit fatter up top. Maybe it'd give a little bit more, less of a tactical feel and more of a robustness to it. But this edge really isn't the best edge. And it's almost a full flat grind, which is fine. I didn't get to put my personal edge on here yet, which I would love to do. But as you could tell, there's not really... It's like a 25 or 30, almost 30 degree edge. And it's not very slicey. It's a lot more robust. That's what leads me to think that these are kind of more of a tactical pocket knife versus a EDC, you got to cut up some stuff type pocket knife, even though it will, I mean, it's not that it won't cut, but I mean, you know what? Let me grab, I got a piece of cardboard here. Let me just, let me see if I can, I have a smaller piece. Okay. So for example, I have a smaller piece of cardboard here. So for this is, see how hard it is to go through? It's not really a cutty, slicey type blade. Now, just for example, I have one of my own edges on this Benchmade, so that is, in my opinion, a little bit of advantage because the blade itself has been sharpened. And I just want to show you. So that was this original cut. Here's this. Barely any effort. And it's not like I'm trying to force this more than the other one. I mean, it's just, this had a hard time getting to this point. Or this knife had a hard time getting to this point. That's a fact. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, you know. Personally speaking, you know, my opinions are, I think it's a great knife. I think it's well worth the money. I think if you're looking for a titanium frame lock knife with absolutely great steel, it is a phenomenal knife. And definitely the V2 version is a great upgrade. Are there a couple minor things I would love to change about it? Yeah, but it is what it is. Maybe I would like the Tonto blade better instead. You know, because I know they have different blades. They also have different finishes and colors, which is cool. Anyways, I hope this helps anybody out there. If there's something I missed, let me know down in the comments. Like, share, comment, subscribe, do everything if you can. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you are like, you know what, I got to try the V1 and I didn't care for it, and I was really interested in what the V2 hold and if it really is a good upgrade. And I definitely say it is a good upgrade. I would say if you liked the V1 but weren't too thrilled about it, the V2 is definitely more up your alley because there's a lot of great things that they did in the V2. Take care, guys. Hope you all have a good day, good night, good whatever. Stay safe, stay healthy. See you guys.